here. I see there's a lot of people here. And hope everybody's having a beautiful time and day and wherever you are. Today's presentation is going to be amazing. My name is, as I said a little bit, my name is Federico Hernandez from the Rum Lab. We are in Zavvi.co. Today's presentation is E&A Scheer Sourcing Rum. We have two amazing people. Before we go into deep dive, let me share with everybody our tools. To the right, we have our chat box. Let us know where you're from, which part of the world you're seeing or participating. If you have any questions, make sure to go right below. There's an ask question area. We're going to try to go to our Q&A, our rum Q&A at the very end. We ask everybody to share the event. Today's agenda is going to be around 30-40 minutes talking about today's main presentation. We're going to do then our 15-20 minutes, hopefully, on the rum o'clock Q&A. Let's deep dive. Today's topic is sourcing rum with E&A Scheer. Our guest, Carsten, and we also have Niels to talk to you a little bit about Carsten. He's the CEO of E&A Scheer, graduate of the top hotel management school. I want to ask him about that because I actually wanted to study in Sweden about hospitality. He served in the Dutch Air Force, worked specialized in logistics. He became active in the pharmaceutical wholesale industry, but then joined E&A Scheer in 1995. That's been 25 years. When you see the gentleman, he looks almost younger than I do. And you got Niels. Niels is the CCO, right, of E&A Scheer since February 2020. Basically, he just joined the company. He started in the consumer good company or consumer good industry, working with companies like P&G, SC Johnson. He's a veteran in fresh food markets and product development. But in a whole, I think ideally what we want to do is bring people on board. So I'm gonna ask Niels to join us because he has something that's pretty cool. Let's see if I can bring. He's actually doing something pretty interesting. He's gonna show us his office, right, or part of his office for the first time. And he's in an area through E&A Scheer that has a little bit of less reception. Let me make sure that he gets on board. Here we go. Invitation sent. Excellent. The time, if you guys, where most of the rums that we're consuming, where does it come from, right? You have so many interesting labels and brands, and you wonder, like, wait, do they come from a distillery? Of course they come from a distillery, but do they own their own distillery? But most of the time, these rums actually are sourced by rum merchants. And E&A Scheer is one of these key rum merchants right now in the world. Let's see if we're gonna have him on board. All right, this is Carsten. I see Carsten over here, which is great.
Hi, everybody. Hi. I'm here. I think Niels is having a few connection problems. This is the modern era of Wi-Fi, mobile phones, and he's trying to work his way into a Wi-Fi network to show you around the office. So while we wait for them or for him to come on board,
Carsten, okay, if you can share a little bit more about who you are, and you can tell. I gave us a small introduction. That you've been 25 years in the company. That you look just like maybe 5 years older than I do, and then you have a great background. You can share a lot of information for the audience.
Yeah, well, so I'm one of the old farts in the industry, I guess. Being with a very old company for 25 years. Basically, it was a bit of a bit. I was a bit lucky to stumble across this company. There was some headhunter who had placed me with a pharmaceutical company at some point, and he thought, you might fit into this rum company. They had a relationship which went back in their family for a long time. And then basically he said, well, have a chat. So I had a chat, walked into this great place, great industry and everything, but basically never stopped smiling because here I am still doing rum. I believe the headhunter saw something in the size of my nose and small glasses that we work with. But that's pretty much a lucky shot to be here, but I'm very happy to be able to do this, and I'm having a lot of fun. Niels, Niels is resurfaced. I'm still not sure if he's capable to set up the iPhone and show you around the office, but once he does, I'm sure we could take a break and have a look around because it's an amazing place where we work. It's quite. Yeah, it's quite historic. Maybe just by looking at the painting here, you can see the old guys watching over my shoulder, and the dog watching the wallet with the money. A very, very symbolic way of a painter of the old days to do things like that. Okay, so where do you want to start, Federico?
So yes. A little bit about the history of the company. So E&A Scheer started 3 centuries ago, right? Can you tell us a little brief about the history of the company?
Yeah, so it's indeed a very old company. It's over 3 centuries ago. In our logo, we state 1712. In fact, we believe it might be 1762. There's a lot of history there. The company started basically in those days when there were sailing ships going to overseas territories and collecting all the products from the overseas territories, bringing it back to Europe, putting it in warehouses here, and then distributing those same products over their customers here in Europe. Actually, the business model that we have today is still very much the same. What we do is we buy rum from all over the world. We bring it to Amsterdam. We stockpile it. We blend it, and then we sell it all over the world in bulk again. So very, very old-fashioned business model. We have enormous inventories, which we have to explain to banks all the time because they don't understand high inventory. They'll understand low inventory because that's better for your net working capital and all that. But it's a very old business model, but still exists and still works as we can see. We found I think.
No, sorry. Niels was able to pop up too, also in the window.
Yep. Hi all.
Hey, Carsten, before we go, because I know Niels shared it was really cold outside, and we're able to get him connected. Do you mind, Carsten, if Niels gives us a quick tour of the office?
No, please do.
All right. Thank you very much. Niels,
Okay, hi,
please, let me open your screen because we want to for sure as much as we can.
Well, welcome everybody to Amsterdam. Lovely city. It's a little bit cold outside. It's not summer yet. Just wanted to show you around our offices for the ones that haven't been here yet. Could be that the Wi-Fi is not working with me, so bear with me. I'll try to stay calm and keep it cool. And let me know if reception is gone off. But welcome to the...
Sorry, Niels, but right now everything is looking good.
Excellent. Well, let me just take you inside to the place where we'll normally receive you. with this crisis, it's a little bit more difficult, but well, this is our reception area. You see a lot of bottles. They're not all with our liquid, but all our customers or suppliers, they'll send us bottles because they're so enthusiastic about their rums. Just to give you an idea.
Wow.
Very old building. We've been here for a long time already. All the operations are in Amsterdam, and I'll take you a little bit further now. Still okay?
Yeah, it looks great.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this is our blending room. You see a lot of small bottles that we use to make our blends.
Wow.
And on top, a lot of bottles that we use as references for our customers. And here comes our master blender again.
Hi guys.
Here's where Carsten does his magic.
Basically, right here.
Yeah.
This is where it happens, guys. We just use a lot of bottles, small glasses, big nose. You recognize the picture. That's what we do.
Still growing mine. Well, there's a lot of history here as well. So you got a lot of old pictures, lots of old bottles, and just to give you an example of how far back we go. Here's a small sample of Batavia Rock from 1842.
Wow.
So this is our museum. Some other really old bottles. So we've been around, and well, this is our working museum. We try to write history here every day. And I'll just take you to our offices. You can see some more history. So as Carsten already mentioned, our company started over 2 centuries ago, maybe even 3. And this is a really cool thing, I think myself. This is the wallet of Evert Scheer, one of the Scheer brothers who started this company. And this wallet goes back to 1754.
Wow.
Here is Evert's brother, Anton. And J. van Lenk from 1800. And then if you look a little bit around, you see some of our ancestors. Like this is a Scheer van Lank. And some other people that have been really important for our company. It's the family Gompert.
Wow.
There you go. There we go, back to Carsten again. So I think we take it from Carsten's screen from now.
Okay, let's do that.
Be really working with me. Yeah.
No, it's okay. That was perfect. Honestly, that was perfect. It couldn't be better. Okay, I'm gonna close the iPhone. Then Carsten, you should be ready, and we can hear you now. 1 second. I'm gonna toggle my screen, and then that way you both come out bigger. The question is, are you guys practicing social distancing?
Well, as social as we can be, we're a rum family, so that's something. But we have a lot of rum at high proof here, so we disinfect each other all the time. But we're doing quite a lot of social distancing. These are strange times, but they also provide opportunities, I guess. I mean, a crowdcast like this is something we haven't done before. It's actually quite amazing the audience that we attract just by being able to portray who we are, and just to be able to show in a different way via video what our company is about and why we actually exist. Because you were asking about the business model, and the business model is very simple, but it's something which also works in times of crisis, because in times of crisis, a lot of things basically stop functioning, a lot of logistics stop functioning, and then it really does help to have a buffer stock. we have massive inventories of rum here, and a lot of our clients are very, very happy today that we can just continue to supply them with that rum for their brand all along. That at the time they need it, the volumes they need, and without any, big hassles, even though we are experiencing a pandemic crisis.
Absolutely, absolutely. And well, especially now that we talk about this, I want to go over, we're talking about just challenges, the COVID-19 challenges, but tell us a little bit more and tell us especially about this awesome cargo ship. I'm going to upload and make the screen bigger so everybody can see it just 1 second.
Right. Yeah.
That's you can see how massive that boat is when you see the images of the people walking on the dock, right? Please tell us more about this, and especially about the challenges of sourcing, right?
Yeah, so there's a lot of challenges in sourcing rum. Normal sourcing and trying to get all your stuff in time for production is an issue, which is quite common. But if you look at a particular product like rum, it is always produced in remote places, right? You need tropical climate, you need sugarcane, you need a sugar factory to get molasses or to get juice. Then basically you need to have a distilling apparatus, being at a column still or a pot still in those areas, because you're distilling next to your crop. And a lot of these things are produced in remote places: Caribbean, east side of Africa, Fiji. You can't think of a remoter place than maybe Fiji or something like that. Now, in order to get from those remote places, which are generally production unfriendly, you could say, to get rum into Europe is not easy. We have a dedicated team to do that. They travel the world to find all these different distilleries and to talk to them and to be able to help distilleries in getting their product out, help our clients to get product in, and we're trying to do that whilst it is very difficult to produce these products in remote countries. So you can imagine that just getting a consistent quality from a remote place can be very challenging.
Yeah.
Now, this is one of the functions that we cover. The availability, you're talking about a crop product. So you have in-crop season, out-crop season. You have a product which, at best, is shipped over in ISO tanks, 25,000 liters a time. Sometimes it takes 2 weeks to get to Europe. Sometimes it takes 8 to 10 weeks to get to Europe. So you have a lot of differences in logistics there as well. Just getting all the different types of rum in one place is an enormous challenge, and our team is very, very good at doing that. But we also appreciate the fact that it's not easy. So if it's not easy for us who have been in this business for so many decades, how difficult is it for somebody who just wants to start a rum brand? This is one of the functions that we provide, and we help people who want to start a rum brand and don't have a distillery. We just make that rum available very close to them, be it in Europe, be it in the USA, be it anywhere else. From Europe, we can get rum out in small quantities. 1,000 liters is easy for us, very difficult for a distillery. We can mix and match any quality that a customer puts together, and we can make sure that it's competitive, because we do very large volumes coming in, and we can make blends in a competitive way for our customers.
That being said, 1 second, Carsten. So, and this same practice has been practiced for the last basically 3 centuries. The same thing, or does the company itself some of its own brands that it's just yours that you don't sell to? Like, for example, is there an expression or a brand that is part of the E&A Scheer?
Sorry, I didn't get the question.
So, is there a specific rums that are available? Are companies that are looking to do their own brand. But do you guys have your own particular brand that is available in the market as well?
No, we don't have our own brand. We supply, let's say, hundreds of different of brands worldwide who, in theory, all can compete with each other. If we were to put our own brand on the market, we would be competing with our own customers. So that's not something that we're looking to do.
Okay.
Moreover, I mean, building a brand and selling a brand, and I'm sure a lot of our listeners here are in agreement, is a particular set of competencies. It's to market a rum and the brand of rum is quite something different than what we do. We just buy and blend and sell bulk rum. I'm trying to make it sound easy because it's easy for us, but we find it very difficult I would find it very difficult to sell a branded rum. I mean, that's what our customers are good at. So what we basically do is we sell. Somebody say we're selling spades to the gold prospectors. Well, that's I think a very nice way of putting it. What we're doing is we're selling raw materials for people who and enabling people to build a rum brand based on those things.
If we go,
we're the oil in the machine of our customers, so we'll just make sure their machine runs good. Yeah. They do all the rest.
And that's also one of the reasons, Federico, why we're maybe not so well known, and we're always a little bit in the background, because we provide rum to people who should be in the spotlight, right? It's not us who should be in the spotlight. We're just enablers.
100%, 100%. And then I just wanted to make that question because I imagine it's going to be one of those questions that we already have 12 questions, and we just started with the first slide. So this is going to be quite interesting. If do you believe I could jump to the next slide that I have? All right. Tell us a little bit about the sort you guys sort, and this is a good map that you shared that gives us a good highlight.
Well, this just shows you that rum is sourced all over the world. And traditionally, people would think about rum being produced in the Caribbean. Yeah, that's true. But lots of volumes of rum are also produced in Central America, South America, eastern side of Africa, Australia, Indonesia, Thailand, you name it. Anywhere you have sugarcane, theoretically you can produce rum. So that means that we travel the world to find all these distilleries who produce their particular style of rum, because every distillery has its own set of rules and his own set of choices to be able to make their own particular rum type. We deal with people who use molasses with a very fast fermentation through a column still, so they produce a very light rum. We deal with people who are they use molasses. They have very, very long fermentation times. They produce a very, very heavy pot still rums, and just about anything in between. People who are using juice as a base, who use different fermentation techniques, who use different distillation techniques, who use different aging techniques. Every distillery has its own set of choices and really produces what that distillery thinks is best. Now we love that, because if they think that's best, that's something which they're going to produce over and over again, and we can source that over and over again. We can bring that to Amsterdam all the time, and then we use that to provide into our blends for all these fantastic people looking to make a good rum. So sourcing, yeah, basically all over the world, and it all goes to this very, very little place in the center of the world, or in the center of this world map, in the Netherlands.
We have to add Puerto Rico to that map.
It could do. And it's funny because we're actually quite a strange little company, right? Because we're a little company. We're big in rum, and we're in this very, very small country somewhere in Western Europe. And that all has to do with history, right? Where a lot of shipping came into Rotterdam/Amsterdam, and a lot of stockpiling took place in this part of Europe, be it in Amsterdam, be it in Liverpool, where we also have a company, as many of you might know. And that stockpiling is actually the foundation of our business.
Absolutely.
The funny thing, Carsten always tells me that there might be customers that live really close to a source that have faster access to their rums from Amsterdam than they have from the source.
Yeah, it has to do with logistics as well.
It's all logistics there.
All right, then. So tell us a little bit about this. Is actually tell us a little bit about this slide, right?
Yeah, as I was mentioning, you know, every distillery has its own particular way of producing rum. And people sometimes ask me, so what's the best rum, Carsten? You tell me what's the best rum, I'll go out and buy that. And then I say, well, that's very difficult to say, because the best rum is you know, it differs very much on where or how you want to use the rum. But if you were to, let's say, take two quality quantifiers to rum and put that in a matrix, we built this matrix where we say, okay, you have light rums, you have medium heavy, very heavy rums, which is the vertical axle. And then on the horizontal axle, you have young rums and aged rums, basically. Now, the higher ester rum you get, the more expensive it gets. And the older the rum gets, the more expensive it gets. So what we find is that the rums that we trade in and that we use for blending are all below the dotted line. Because you don't have a lot of very high ester rums which are aged for a very long time. Just because it's cost prohibitive or you know, it's just not used in any of the industries that we service. And with the really high ester rums, we service the rum industry, companies like Givaudan and IFF and all these very particular aroma companies. They always look for a source of rum which is consistent, easy, and they find all these things with us. The drinks industry, obviously, in volume is a very big part of our business, and we typically will supply a lot of blends of light to medium heavy rum, lightly aged rums into that industry. So you can imagine that we buy rums, you know, from the very low ester to the very high ester. And we buy rums from fresh to aged and to very old. And because we have all these different rum types on stock in inventory, we can combine. So we can combine high esters with age, or we combine light rums with aged rums, and in that way we can create any type of blends that our customers are looking for. And the way we do that, I think, is described on the next slide, Federico.
Before we go to the next slide, I have a question for you, because you're sourcing rum from a high level of ages from around the world. What profile have you thought or realized that is more consistent or less of a risk, if there is a risk? Saying, like, do you want a really old rum that once this arrives to Amsterdam, which is actually the weather there is pretty cool, which is nice for the additional process of aging. But do you try to stay in a range of specific ages of rums?
No, we buy all different ages, and actually it's not so much what we buy, and it's not so much what is produced, which is interesting in this respect. It's what the customer wants. Because if a customer is looking specifically for aged rum, we will put a blend with aged rums together. If they're looking for old and rare rums, we actually have a separate company based in Liverpool to service them for that. There is not a certain profile that we buy, but we buy all different styles of rum, and we create very specific profiles from those rums. So very much custom-made blends for whoever thinks of a brand.
Okay, excellent. Thank you for clarifying that. Are there many companies that want to basically on aged rum?
Oh yes, oh yes. There are big volumes, you know, in unaged rums. Let's say the basic white supermarket rums that you'll find in many of our markets will be white unaged rums. Sometimes with a twist of some to differentiate, either with a twist of age or with a twist of some different highest that we put through. There's a lot of possibilities there. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for clarifying that. Let's go over here our next slide and tell us. And this is more right when it goes like, let's say I call E&A Scheer. I'm interested in a brand, and basically you can guide us through. Can you guide us through the whole process of the introduction call all the way until the product arrives and it arrives to its shelves? And before I do that, let me make sure that everything is looking good. Let me open the slide so everybody can see it. And I'm going to toggle myself out. And
Okay.
That way this slide can be shared between both of you.
Yeah. So this is actually the core tool of our business, right? So our business is to talk to customers who are looking to create a rum or a rum brand. Yeah. And they will come to us either with a great story or with a great brand concept or with a great idea, and what we do is we talk them through all the dimensions which you see on this slide, right? Some people might come in with a great marketing story about a pirate. You know, there's a lot of rum stories about pirates or pirate stories in rum. They have some marketing buzzwords, and then basically it might be a story about this pirate going to Jamaica, Barbados, and Trinidad. So then we'll think, okay, that's a great marketing buzzwords with three origins there, so we could make a blend of Jamaica, Barbados, and Trinidad. Is there any other islands you went to? Did you go to Central America? How about Nicaragua or Guatemala or Panama maybe? And if the client then says, yeah, Panama, we also went to Panama because the Panama Canal is there, right? Yes, okay. So we'll put Panama into that blend as an origin as well. And then we'll go through all these questions about did this pirate like is rum aged or should it be fresh? Then we know about aged rums we can use. Did he like a white or a gold rum? Then we know about the appearance. How did he drink his rum? Was he a neat rum drinker or did he just use it in cocktails? Then we know about the application of the liquid. And where was this pirate story? So where are you going to sell that particular product? And this is where a lot of the people who have a brand story then go, well, I'm going to sell it in my hometown, or I'm going to sell it in my country, or I'm going to sell it all over Europe, or some are going to sell it all over the States. And if we know about those market preferences, we can also help them in providing the right blend for that particular market, because we service a lot of these markets already. We know the do's and don'ts. We know the likes and the dislikes. So we know sort of the taste profile which works in certain markets, and we can help people on what sort of blends that we put together. Then obviously the price objective. If this product is going to the bottom shelf of a supermarket, obviously the price objective will be low, and the scale of the project might be high. So those two go together. We think about so which distillate would be suitable for a low price, high scale project. These days we see more and more sort of premium offerings coming up. People really wanting to uplift the rum category and to use either specific origins or combination of origins or specific ages or combination of ages. They want a particular style of liquid, or they want to combine something unusual. Everybody we talk to these days in making new rum blends, they're all trying to make a premium, or they're all trying to make their own specific liquid, to have a point of difference, to be able to stick out and stand out. And that's, I think, if you want to do that on your own and you go to all these different islands and you need to find the distillates to put something like that together, be my guest, it is very, very challenging. Whereas, you know, as you said, people can give us a call, or they go online and they go to this blending tool. They fill in the questions. Within 2 or 3 days, they get an answer by somebody who might have some clarifying questions, and a person called Joris, or a person called Menno, or a person called Niels, or a person called Carsten will give them a call and say, listen, you filled in this this particular blending tool. Can we just talk the project through? And then we know which distillates we can use to put a blend together.
Excellent.
And that goes pretty quick, because the week after, all of a sudden you get all these, you get a series of little bottles, which represent the liquid version of your story, so to speak. So what we've then done is we've actually converted this story into a liquid, and we give you several options with pricing, so you can make a choice. And on these little bottles, they're all very quirky little bottles, and they have a little number on them, and that number actually represents a recipe which is specifically made for you and which can be replicated all the time. That recipe, you know, where this is all quite artisanal. I was talking about big noses and small glasses and all these liquids we put together. In the end, if you have that, you've selected your recipe, then basically you want it to be supplied to you consistently over time, right? So yeah. The first 1,000 liters, it would taste like, you know, this is exactly what you've been putting together. This is your dream product. This is the product which is going to be sold under your label. Then the second 1,000, or the second 10,000, the second 100,000, or the third 100,000 should have the exact same consistent quality, right? So we have a whole system of blending actually to be able to make sure that that over time you consistently receive the same liquid, the same blend that you've selected in this process.
Oh, I see that there's a lot of people working with the blending tool at the moment. Feel free. I think it's our most valuable tool we have. So if you have any remarks on it, please let us know as well, because we can always improve. Yeah. And looking forward to all the requests.
Yeah,
and new projects.
Well, I hope a lot of you guys are going to keep us busy, because there's. I think, Federico, there's a lot of people online now, right? And if everybody of these people, and I'm not sure if I can disclose the number, but if everybody sends in one of these blending tool requests, we have a lot of work. But you know, I know the guys, the guys in the back office, like Menno and Joris, they're looking now, and they're just jumping up and down to be able to help you guys. So please go ahead.
No, I have a question for you. Actually, Niels, I did send you a message. Let me know if that message that I send you on WhatsApp, it's okay. It's come. Let's go to the next slide, because it's part of the what it has to do with the blending process.
Yeah, the blending process. Yeah, like I said, if you buy a certain liquid, and particularly these blended rums that you were to buy for your brand, it is the brand that you're going to sell, right? So you want that liquid to be consistent and to be the same every time. Now, in rum, I was mentioning before, if a lot of rums are distilled in production unfriendly environments. So every tank that we buy, we would expect it to be slightly different from the previous one, even though we might buy it under the same specs or something. But it doesn't really bother us too much, because we are, we're quite a large operator, so we'll buy multiple ISO tanks of the same quality, and we interblend those so that we're leveling out quality differences along the way. That's the first initial step. We don't think that's enough, because what happens is that distilleries in the Caribbean, they experience things like hurricanes, other natural disasters, and political unrest, logistic unrest, whatever. So sometimes, even if we have large inventories, these certain rum types are not available. So what we do is we make intermediate blends, which are made up out of 8 to 10 original types. And so if one of those 8 to 10 is no longer available, we can compensate with the other ones, and we still get to make consistent intermediate blends. Based on those, we can make a recipe. So we'll say 20% of this, 80% of that is always going to be very consistent. And those are the blends that we sell out into our customer environment.
So if you look at it from the consumer perspective, consumer always expects to drink the same rum, and always able to buy it, and that's what we deliver here.
Yeah, it's fun. I see a lot of questions coming by in not just in the question section, but in the other section as well. Which is I love the interaction. You guys are really fun. Anyway, go on.
Amazing.
We'll finish the first part first, right?
Carsten, I have a question for you. What have you seen in regards to before there used to be more coloring in rum or every spirit to maintain consistency behind the shelves, right? When you went to the duty free, you wanted all the bottles to look the same. You didn't want any inconsistency.
Yeah.
That has completely shifted. And what are you seeing with that right now? And what are you guys doing, or what are your clients asking for?
Well, what you see, and it's very different in which segment our clients are working, obviously, because even for the supermarket product, where it's a mass market product, it all needs to taste the same, it all needs to look the same, and it can be colored a little bit with caramel. And there's nothing basically wrong with coloring your rum with caramel, because it just gives a bit of color and not too much else. Yeah. But we do find, and I think we're moving into a world where transparency is very important. So where sustainability is important, where natural products are appreciated. So a lot of our clients are now shying away from additives, any additives. So they don't like to put any aromas in there, which in European rum isn't allowed anyway. But in the US, you can still add some additives. Some people, there's a debate about should you be putting sugar in rum or not. Some people do, some people don't. There's a question about should we add caramel, or do we want it to be a natural color? We see a lot of moving away from adding additives, and in our profession as rum blenders, we think it's okay, because we have so many different rum types to play with that if we can blend rums in a different way, and you get amazing results without having to use any additives at all, because you have so many rums to add, right? Why add anything else?
I believe that I agree with adding a little bit of caramel makes no difference. 1 second. I just want ahead of time, I do share this room with my family too, so other people are doing homeschooling. I with adding caramel, there sometimes maintaining the balance is so I believe that there was a big breakthrough that happened with whiskey, and it was bourbon whiskey in the Americas, that every buying different casts and different and it was cool to buy a bourbon whiskey, and that was different from the other one, and that from being something that was awkward became a cool thing. And that opened a big window to the spirit industry. And I think now we're living that through all the spirit industry. But certainly, I worked for Remy Coin for a few years, and it was part of the philosophy. The consumers want to see something that looks consistent in look and flavor. Let's go to the next slide. And then tell us a little bit about the blending warehouses and your storage, and tell us a little bit more about this.
Yeah, so basically what we're showing here is that we still have some of the old vats, 5 to 10,000 liter vats, big old oak vats. They look pretty. We have them, we use them, but in all honesty, a larger part of our warehouse is also what you see on the left-hand side, all these stainless steel tanks and stainless clean pipes and stuff. And for the larger volumes, it might not be as romantic, but you have big outside tanks, a bit like oil terminals or that type of environment where you have tanks of 500,000 liters or 250,000 liters where we make rum blends as well. It might not look as romantic as a rum cask, but it's the reality of rum these days, and it all helps to be able to offer all the variety that we offer, plus to be able to offer the consistency we offer, and the speed of delivery and everything we offer in our little rum game. Now, what I saw a question come by: where do you actually age your rums? We have aging warehouses in Liverpool. We do some aging here in Amsterdam. We do aging overseas in what we call aging at origin. So scattered all over the world, there's rums in our name. And just when the time is right, we bring it to Amsterdam. We also buy a lot of aged rums, which are aged, on our behalf. So where do we age rum? Wherever there is rum being produced and being put in a barrel, that's where we age rum as well. So in origin, in Liverpool, in Amsterdam, you name it, we have it.
I wanna, if it's okay, I wanna bring in Eric K. Eric K. actually is a client of E&A Scheer, and he has his own brand, which is Homestay. Let him just see if he can log into the presentation, because it'll be really good to have his point, and he shares how his experience been. All right.
Hey, you put me on the spot, Fetty. I'm getting echo. Yes, I have my new to prank shirt on. Here we go. Hey guys, Carsten. Doing great. Somehow I picked up a sore throat, which is amazing since I haven't left the house in a month. So
that's not a good thing, not these days anyway. No.
But
well, Eric, let me introduce him because he's a very particular client, right? I think Eric is one of the pioneers of premium, super premium single cask rums in the US. Not many people have the guts to do what you do, Eric, and I'm glad you're joining us. In fact, your story goes even one step beyond what I've been saying so far in blended rums, because you wanted to be a little more particular than just blended rums, right?
yeah, I didn't want to blend rum. I specifically to Carsten, and more so what I was really looking for are aged single edition rums, single barrel from the best stuff he had and was willing to sell me, which is not everything. They hold back some of the good stuff for themselves still.
Yeah.
But which is very different than the typical skier client, I would say, who uses their expertise to create an amazing blend at a price point. I wasn't as much interested in the price points as just the rums. And they have rums from everywhere in the world.
Yeah, and Eric, you ended up buying cask from us from our little treasure cove called the Main Rum Company, right?
Exactly, out of Liverpool.
Out of Liverpool, yeah. So Rico, maybe you can put that slide up, because the funny thing is that in preparation for this particular crowdcast, Federico said, yeah. So can you tell us anything about secrets of E&A Scheer? And then I said, well, the biggest secret we have is actually the Main Rum Company. The Main Rum Company is our subsidiary in UK, based in Liverpool. And on the right, you see the door to their office, and behind that door, there's actually a whole collection of secrets, because it's in warehouses, as you see in the middle, and in casks, as you see on the left. That is actually what it looks like. It's old, it's dusty, it's moldy, and there's a lot of casks there. And all these casks are secret little jewels that guys like Eric sort of, they twist our arms to find the best cask, and then they have the guts to put that into a bottle into the market. Really quite amazing. Holmes Key, you should really check out that brand. It's I think you're doing your third cask bottling now, right? Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
That's right. Here they are. We just bottled them this week, actually. These are both Main Rum rums from Fiji and Guyana.
Yeah, the funny thing, he hasn't even paid me for the advertising.
I'll buy more barrels.
Eric, thank you so much for joining us. Let's go to the Q&A. We got a lot of questions, and we don't have that many more minutes. Have a good one, Eric.
Thanks, Eric.
All right. Okay. Let me go to.
By the way, we got our first landing request in.
Yeah, Amit Patel
from San Francisco.
Oh, nice. I should get some commission for this. No, I'm kidding. Just send me some bottles of rum. All right. So next slides. If you guys, anybody wants more information, this slide is a little bit. The quality is not that good, but you can certainly go to www.rum.nl and get more information. I actually missed I didn't add the next slide of our next event on Savvy, which is actually we're going to have a virtual distillery tour of the Antigua distilleries, which is going to be really interesting. They don't even have a tour which is open. Before we go to, we ask anybody if you guys want to support us, go to nobleking.com. This is our new merch store. There's a promo code 20%, which is the Rum Lab. Well, enough said. Let's go to the Q&A. Let's start drinking some rum as well. I know we all been drinking rum already. I already went through my Denison portfolio, which is just one bottle. I also have Banks rum, which I love. And then now I'm going to go to my little 50 millimeter bottle that I still have from Holmes K from Eric.
Okay.
All right. So let's go through the questions. All right. So question number 1 from Ivar. Let's see. Can you please comment on Fiji and St. Lucia rum? Lately, Plantation has said that they have negotiated an exclusive deal with Fiji for their rum. Does this exclude Scheer completely? For how long? For Lucia, it's different, of course, as the new owners doesn't want to sell bulk rum anymore. Do you have any sort of feeling if this would be forever?
Now that's a very political question, Ivar, and I'm sure he's smiling right now.
If you can't reply, don't worry, we can pass it on.
No, I mean it is very particular about the industry. That there's always a lot of stories around, and a lot of particular sort of relationships between distilleries and customers. Sometimes distilleries don't want to be known to sell to us because they prefer to use it for their own brand. Exclusive deals, non-exclusive deals. We have rums from Fiji, so if you want rum from Fiji, just come on and order, I guess. It's not an issue.
The most important thing is that you right now have rum from Fiji.
Yeah, we have rum on inventory. We have rum in cask in Liverpool, so it's available, and it's actually a very nice product. You know, Fiji is a very nice distillery. I've visited at some point. It's although very remote from the Caribbean, it does represent a similar sort of setup as you would find in maybe in Barbados or in St. Lucia or places like that, with a pot still and a column still and blending knowledge and very passionate people, nice people, I think. Yeah, so it's a good distillery then.
And what about St. Lucia?
Yeah, St. Lucia, I think is also very interesting. In a way, they're comparable because they have a series of pot stills and a column still. Incredible blender actually at St. Lucia, and a lot of people don't know this person because he's very modest and works behind the scenes. But I think he's probably one of the most talented blenders I've ever run into. Speaking blends with him was like, you know, coming home and really great fun. St. Lucia has French ownership now, and they reserve most of their rums for their own product, so they just don't have a lot of overcapacity to sell to us at this point in time.
Understood. But you do you for any? Do you still have inventory of St. Lucia's rum?
Yep.
Yeah, that's good. That's important for those for people to know.
Especially doesn't mean we're going to release it just now.
Okay.
It's one of the hidden gems at the Main Rum Company.
Okay, we have a question from Olaudad. I don't know if I'm pronouncing the name correctly. Are there any distilleries or areas you to get rum from that you currently don't have?
Yes, any distilleries we don't have rum from, we would like to buy rum from. So any distillery out there who doesn't sell to us, give us a call. And we have a fantastic team. There's a lady called Marion de Haan who will take your call anytime and who would be interested in talking about sourcing rum. Like I said, you know, anywhere rum is produced, we will be interested to look at the product to see if we can use it in any way or form, or we can make it available for those clients out there who are looking for rums and you know, just find all these thresholds to source a bit too high.
Okay, I like this question from Oliver. Oliver's from the Rum Social Club. What are the prerequisites to start a rum brand with rum sourced from E&A Scheer? Talking about minimum orders, bottles. He left it there.
1,000 liters. That's it.
How many bottles will you get in 1,000 liters? 1,000 liters. Is it?
Yeah.
You don't get that.
Our minimum order requirements are 1,000 liters, right? So that's one idea, and we would ship that out at high strength. So it depends very much on the type of rum. If it's light rum, it will be shipped out at 95% alcohol. If it's a blended rum at 75, aged rum generally at 65. Well, then you have 650 liters of alcohol. But multiplied by 3 more or less, and then you have the number of bottles. Again, dependent in the US, you have 0.75 bottles. In Europe, you have 0.7 bottles. But those are sort of the numbers you should think about. Actually, that is a pretty low threshold for people. And the fun is that, you know, it doesn't matter to us where we ship this IBC to. You know, we've been known to ship IBCs of rum back into the Caribbean because some distillers wanted a particular quality, or we actually ship stuff by air freight into Japan if you want.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is that? Bro, I thought that was completely illegal to take it on a plane.
Well, as long as you package it right in 60-liter drums with a certain, there's a lot of dangerous goods management requirements there, which well, we know how to do that. So for us, it's easy. But if you don't know how that works, that is difficult. Yeah.
This is your specialty, and I'm sure you have negotiations with every single carrier or understand the do's and not do's of every company. We have a question from Jason, and this is actually going back to the history of the company, right? E&A Scheer started sourcing Batavia rock in the very beginning, and this is Jason's question: can you tell us more about your sourcing of Batavia rock? The distilleries qualities you look for?
Well, Batavia Arak is a funny product. You could also refer to it as Indonesian rum if you want. Batavia Arak is a general Arabic word which translates to eau de vie or spirit, for argument's sake. Batavia Arak is a product made from molasses in the island of Indonesia, and I'm not sure, or the islands of Indonesia. I'm not sure if people are aware of that, but Indonesia is the biggest Muslim country in the world, and Muslim and alcohol production, that religion and alcohol doesn't really match.
Yeah.
So you can imagine that it is very difficult to source an alcoholic product from a Muslim country, but through our centuries-old relationships that we have there, we are able to do that. It's particular product, and it's a very particular supply chain, not easy to manage. So we have to have massive buffer stocks in several places to be able to get the product out and to get the right blend on this side. It's a very old-fashioned product. It's it's not used widely as a drink. It's used as an ingredient in a lot of herbal liqueurs, in Scandinavian punches, in things like that. But it's particular and it's part of our history, so that's why we continue and we love we love dealing with it, even though it is probably one of the hardest products to come by. Yeah.
Carsten, do you have access to the Host K Barbados 2005 at your office now? Any chance?
No, we sold it all to Eric, you see. But I have another.
To do like an exercise with you about like nosing.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got more questions. We got a question from. We won't be able to do all the questions, but there's still 36 questions that we have answered for. But we'll try to get as many as possible. How old are you? Are your oldest rum stock you have in storage? Can you talk about your history? Can you talk about the history with some long operating distilleries?
Sorry, the oldest rums that we have, well, they would probably be, I don't know, somewhere from the 1970s or late 70s, early 80s. That's what we would commercially sell. We have samples here which date back to 1812, 1842, 1846. So really old samples, but I'm not sure if that's the question.
Well, I mentioned rum stocks you have in storage for people to buy and make their own private.
Yeah, so commercially ones would start somewhere in the like early 80s. Yeah, so that's pretty old. Huh?
What
so
is the? What is
40 years old.
Oh, sorry. Go. I apologize. 48.
Yeah, more or less 40 years old. Huh? And, you can imagine that is, if you leave rum in a barrel for 40 years and it's evaporating for 40 years, that there's just a little bit left in those barrels. So there's not a lot available, and that's particularly one of those rare and old casks that we have in at the Main Rum Company.
But a question for you regarding E&A Scheer. Once again, as you guys are in Amsterdam, you're in a way cooler market or country. And isn't your angel share should be a way slower or minimum? So there's always a percentage.
Yeah, well, like I mentioned, we're aging rum in several places in the world, and every cellar is different, and every environment is different, be it in style of climate or and thus in angel share. I mean, the higher the temperature, the more would evaporate, and then if it's a moist climate or a non-moist climate, you lose alcohol or you lose water or liquid. So it very much depends on where a product is aging, what the angel share is. But you have variations between European angel shares of about 2%, and in some of the tropical environments where we age rum, we have initial angel shares of 10% in the first year and 8%, 6% in consecutive years after that. So it's very dependent on the state, the place of the cellar, the microclimate it's in. Somebody who could really tell you a lot about that is a lady called Maggie Campbell, who's done a lot of research on that, and she's an amazing lady, knows a lot about it. It's fun to speak to her about that if you want.
So we have our next question is from Matt Patrick from. As they shared in the chat, he actually wrote an amazing article about E&A Scheer. And but his question is right now: tell us about how Main Rum came to be, and how they then later merged with E&A Scheer.
Yeah, so Matt is an interesting guy. Love him for his stories, right? He is probably the best rum writer that I know, and he does incredible research. I'm sure he actually knows the answer to this question better than I do. But no, the Main Rum Company was a company which was started off by a gentleman called Ben Cross de Chavannes, and Ben Cross used to work for Booker's. Booker's was a very old company. They used to call Guyana British Guyana. They didn't call it British Guyana, but they called it Booker's Guyana, because they were the buyers of all the sugar and all the rum from Guyana. Anyway, at some point he stopped, and he was with United Rum Merchants, which was an offspring of Booker's, and he was helping Demerara distillers with getting their rum into Europe, more or less as a competitor to E&A Scheer at the time. But we thought, what he's doing is actually quite good, because what he was doing, he was getting rum over, and he kept a bit of those rums as inventory for himself. And till today, we still have Guyana rums, which decades ago were collected by Ben Cross de Chavannes, and they're part of Main Rum Company's heritage and history. And we release barrels at the time of that, but it's scarce, and it's quite interesting. So he was very instrumental in setting up that company. He built it to include a gentleman called Eric Strawn, who is since retired as well. So they're both retired, and now we have two gentlemen called Ian. So we have Ian Smith and we have Ian Hoyles. And funnily enough, Ian Hoyles is the son of Steve Hoyles, and Steve Hoyles, for those in the rum industry, was a very big name in the old days. He knew, I think he was one of the creators of Malibu and other things like that. Very, very knowledgeable gentleman on rum, and now we employ his son. So I'm actually quite proud about that as well. I hope that answers his question, but I'm sure he has a lot of research done on it anyway.
I'm sure he's going to write another amazing article, and then I'll be able to post it on the Rum Lad weekly newsletter.
Let's hope so.
I did share in the bottom a link so you can see E&A Scheer's go to the website. I do see that some people have been toggle out, they can't see, but rest assured the whole presentation you can replay after this event. Is going to be available for 24 hours. After that, all our videos are actually available our subscribers, which is it's just $5 a month. You have access to our entire library, and you can see that at savvy.co. Let's do one more question, if that's okay with you. And then we'll wrap it up here. Let's see here from John Atkins. How many vet rums do you acquire? In other words, what do you do to verify what is actually in the distillate? Do you test it for sugar, etc.?
Yes, and analysis is only part of our due diligence base, on how we buy rums. We go quite a bit further. I mean, we do not buy rum from distilleries we haven't actually visited and seen and met the people. So it all starts there, where you know the people you're buying from, you know what they are capable of, you know what the possibilities and constraints of a distillery are. Then once you specify which rums you're going to buy from these distilleries, there's gas chromatograph testing which you have to go through. But a gas chromatograph is a machine, right? So the only thing you do is you tell the machine to test for 10 components or something, or 14 components. And then basically that'll push out some numbers, and you can compare those numbers for consecutive batches. So that gives you an indication. But the most important thing is still to know how a distillery operates, what they do, how they operate, and just to take the glass and use your nose, because your nose is far more sophisticated than any machine out there. And if you have a bit of an experienced nose, you can pick up a lot of defects in distillates straight away, basically. We use nose first and foremost. We use analysis as a backup and as a bit of reference.
Okay, and Carsten, I think we should certainly do another live stream presentation about selecting and nosing rum, and how to learn about. I just want to pick your brain and all the things that you have in your mental archives of just flavors and nuts and all the fruits. I think it has to be
nuts and bolts. Yeah,
it will be a whole entire course. It will be phenomenal. I did share everybody a quick link. The Rum Lab interview. These two gentlemen actually came out today on the Rum Lab. Every week we interview someone on the rumlab.com. If you haven't signed up to our newsletter. We actually do. If you're in the industry and you're serious about the industry, please sign up. We do have we have our rum festivals. If you are more interested in rum festivals, you can sign up individually for those rum festivals. The industry newsletter is actually for, I would say, professional people that are really interested about the rum industry itself. But there's two amazing interviews today about Carsten and Niels. Let's do one more question, because there's a lot of votes for these questions, and we'll wrap it up. I'm sorry, guys, but I know it's super late over there.
All right, we're here. We're in Amsterdam. It's 11:15, so we have plenty of time.
Enjoying a glass.
Yeah, Niels is enjoying his glass. I don't have time for mine just yet, but I'm sure we'll be all right a little later on. Yeah.
All right. Okay. So last question is from Oliver. Has 9 votes, so that's why I chose that. A lot of people want to know about this question. Consumers request more and more transparency on rum. How does E&A Scheer keep track of information and help the independent bottlers to go towards more transparency?
Yeah, and I think that's a great question. It is true. Transparency is key. We also would refer to it as traceability, right? So what we do is whenever we put blends together, whenever we buy in and sell rums, we will tell exactly the story of what the components are in that rum. We could say, there's these and these and these origins, there's these ages which we've combined, there's so much pot still, there's so much column still. We obviously register every thing in our systems, and it looks as if it's all just in my brain, but that's not true. That looks very romantic, but in the end, it's massive databases of information, right? And we have ERP systems that help us with blending and recipes and calculating how much we need of what. But generally what we do is we put blends together, and people then ask us, so give me a profile on the rum, and we'll tell them the profile of the rum. We even go as far as telling where, from which distillery that liquid would come. And then that transparency, it's important to know exactly where your rum comes from. But sometimes, for argument's sake, if we put rum of a certain distillery in your blend, and that certain distillery doesn't want you to mention their trademark name on your label, we can understand that. So we have disclosure agreements with the distilleries where we specify exactly which wording can be used and cannot be used by our clients. And we tell the clients, this rum is from that and that distillery. You can't actually use that name because that's a trademark of the distillery which you use in your own brand, but you could use this name, or you could use a reference towards the region or something like that. And we actually help people on being transparent again to their consumers, because everybody putting our product in a branded product will have consumers of their own, right? Who have their own questions, and we do see a lot more questions these days, which go. Sometimes I joke, some of those guys, they want to know the color of the underwear of the distiller now. It really goes pretty far, but we try to be as open and transparent as possible, so that our clients have ammunition to serve the questions of their audience.
Okay, Carsten, there's many questions after that.
Is there?
Alex says, thank you very much for that question. We had people from every single part of the world, which is phenomenal. It was a great presentation. Over 150 people seeing us here. I'm sure we have people on Facebook as well as YouTube. Thank you so much. Hope you guys have a good night. We appreciate your time. And I really hope to schedule really soon another live stream that we can talk about understanding Carsten's mind.
All right. Well, it was enjoyable, I think, and just looking at the reactions, and I haven't, because the strange thing is that if you're sitting behind a screen here and trying to do a presentation and reacting to your questions, and you see all these other questions come by, it's quite difficult to sort of react to them. Although, I see a lot of names that I've seen before. So welcome, Polo, Christina, welcome. Good to see you, Ivar. A lot of people that are quite familiar to me are on the comment bar there. On the question list, you see familiar names and unfamiliar names, and I would really like to answer all the questions at some point in time. I'm sure, Frederica, you can explain how that works, which we'll do.
Yeah, I can send you all the questions, and you can. It's around 34 questions, because ideally we can get those questions. You can send them back to me answered. Maybe you need like 48 hours, 2 days. Maybe by Friday, or okay, maybe by next Tuesday I'll include it in my newsletter, and I'll put it in the Rum Lab, all your replies to all the questions.
Excellent.
And that way you have something to do, something fun to do during the weekend.
Yes, my family, thank you.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, Niels. Thank you, Carsten. Have a beautiful day, a beautiful evening, and stay safe, everyone who's here. Once again, remember, this video will be available for replay. And actually, as I say goodbye, I don't want to miss this quick opportunity, because I missed the slide and I wanted to share this. Let's see if it comes out. Yes, this is the next presentation that we have with our friend Colbert Francis from Antigua Distillery. All right. Adios.
Perfect.
Thank you very much, guys. Thanks, and thanks for the audience as well. I really enjoyed doing this. Thank you very much.
All right.
Have a good. All
And
right.
thank you for the opportunity, because I know this is you handpick everybody. So I appreciate both of you giving me this support and always supporting our festivals in the US.
We don't do this very often, but you know, it was a pleasure to be with you. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Cheers.